Okay, so we're gonna start. And this is week 9, okay? And we start with industry news. Then after that, we're gonna have a 2% quiz, okay? Then we have, I'm gonna talk about your up-to-date mark. So this is all the week 9. So I'm gonna tell you like what's your up-to-date mark. I have the mark here, so if you want to check it during the break, you can ask me as well. And you can check it on Blackboard as well, okay? So I always update mark on Blackboard. And today we're going to talk about the non-alliance airlines. So last couple of weeks we talked about Star Alliance members, SkyTeam, and oneworld. And there are some big airlines which are not part of alliances we're going to talk about today. And then we have homework, talk about homework, okay? So we start with the industry news. The first one, I just read it yesterday. I find it interesting. So they're talking about 5 myths about germs on aircraft. So when you fly, are you afraid of germs on the aircraft? No, not really. Depends on the people, I find. Like myself, I'm okay. Do you use a blanket or pillows on the aircraft? Like you see, I can tell she's quite. So you're afraid of germs, right? Okay, why don't you use a blanket? They're all wrapped in the plastic. You just don't use it. You bring your own, right? How about you? No? You bring your own, right? And how about the other people? Do you use their blanket? I do. I'm bad. I do. Sorry? Long haul flight, right? Long haul flight is quite cold, right? And sometimes I ask two, one on my knees, one because it can be cold, right? Especially Air Canada flight. And Air Canada flight, and you see, I can tell the big difference. I always fly to Toronto to Beijing route, right? Depending on which airline you fly with. If you fly with Air Canada, most of the passengers are Caucasian. So they put the temperature quite cold. So it's always cold. Whereas if I fly with a Hainan Airway or Air China, the temperature is higher. Because most of the Chinese passengers, they're afraid of cold. So that's why the cabin temperature is a little bit different, okay? So when I fly with Air Canada, I always ask them for 2 blankets, 2 pillows. And so you don't use it because of the germs, right? Yeah. And how about, you say the pillows. How about this one? Do you bring something with you to clean the tray table or whatever?
I just don't like to touch the tray.
You just don't like to touch it. How about this magazine, seat pocket, those kind of stuff? Do you think they clean it?
I hope so.
No. Do you think they clean it?
Not often.
That's right. They do clean it, but not often. Okay, not as often as you want, right? Sometimes we assume that they are supposed to clean it every flight, but think about it. Is it possible they clean it every flight? Do you know how long is turnover time? Like for example, your flight, Air Canada flight from Toronto to Hong Kong, and then it's an Air Canada flight. They have to come back immediately, right? Do you know how long do they stay there?
2 hours.
Max. 2 hours, 3 hours, max, 2 hours max, right? Sometimes because the longer you stay there, the more airlines will pay. So they try to unload and load people as fast as they can. So after they unload the people, and then immediately there's a cleaning crew come up, and they just do a very quick clean, and then just load people in, get out of there. Because it costs lots of money to stay there, right? So think about it. Maybe they have 20 minutes to clean the whole 747. Do you think they will clean like every single tray table, all the? I think most of the time, what they do is they take the magazine garbage out of the seat pocket, and what they do, they clean the maybe carpet a little bit, and that's all about it. Do you think they're gonna use sanitizer to wipe all the tray table and all the stuff, all the armrest? I doubt they would do it. So let's see, what are the 5 myths about germs on? How about the air quality? Are you afraid of the air quality, cabin air?
Not afraid of it.
Not afraid of it. Are you nervous about it?
No.
Have you ever thought about somebody is sick on the aircraft and
No.
That's
Right
the only
now.
thing.
right now, huh?
Yeah.
You're probably afraid of that, right? Yeah, because think about it, it's an enclosed cabin, right? And let's see, what are the myths, 5 myths about germs on aircraft? Oh my, this is slow. Number 1, the most dangerous health hazard is in the cabin is the air itself. This is actually a myth. It's because what they do is they have a very advanced filter system. So the air has been filtered very, it's like a, what's the name? They call it HEPA. You see, sometimes you buy a vacuum machine, they say they have those kind of HEPA filter. And same thing for the aircraft, it's actually not bad. The air is not that bad, okay? And number 2 is the bagged airline pillows and the blankets are okay to use. Just like what you said, Bailey said. In fact, it is not. And have you seen them? Sometimes they don't even put them in the like plastic wrap. All they do is what? The compartments on the top, and they just throw them in and bring them out, right? Most of the time, they reuse them. So it's not the cleanest blanket or pillows in the world. So what they say is try not to use it. Try not to use it. Yeah. Number 3 is airline clean the aircraft between flights. Again, that's a myth. Sometimes they do, just like what I said, because turnover time is so short, they try to clean it, but all they clean is to clean somewhere you can see. Like for example, the seat pocket, take away the cups and garbage, and on the floor, take out the big piece of garbage. That's all about it. They're not going to use a sanitizer to clean all the tray tables. Okay? So that's number 3. Number 4, the airline have taken steps to ensure the passengers can't contract disease like the Ebola virus in the aircraft. This one, they're trying, but the problem is that before they let you check in, do you think they're going to check the whole medical system history or whatever? I don't think they can. What they can do is that if there's certain area, they have some Ebola or what kind of viruses, and then they can have a special control during that, only that flight. Yes?
In Dubai, they started screenings.
Is that right? Screening, right? Okay.
The airports itself.
Yeah. And have you noticed that when you travel international, every time I go back to China, before you go to immigration, there's always a big door kind of, it's a temperature reader. Have you gone through? I don't know whether they have it in Ottawa. It's like a door you have to go through. It's a temperature reader. So when you pass through, they can tell your body temperature.
A lot of airlines have the guns.
Oh, is that right? To read the temperature?
Yeah, they just point it at you.
No. Is that right? Okay. I thought it's only those doors. Because every time I go through that door, I'm a little bit nervous, like, do I have a little bit fever or what? Because you know what? They can quarantine you, right? They can. They're allowed to do that. So what they do is they read the temperature, and so when you pass by, if there's no beep, 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 you're safe. Okay? So that's virus. And there's no way they can totally control it, right? And the last one, let's face it, there's not much I can do to protect myself when I'm trapped in an aircraft cabin. That's myth. You can do lots of things you can do to protect yourself. Let's think about what can you do. Do not use what? Pillows and blanket, right? What is number 2 you can do?
Hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer. That's right. And lots of people travel with travel sanitizer. And then when they get on the airplane, what they do is clean the tray table, clean the armrest, clean as much as they can. Like the seat, I don't think you can clean it, right? And but you can clean wherever you touch. And what is number 3 thing you can protect yourself? I don't see a lot in North America, but when I travel in Asia, oh my God. What's that? Face mask. Like the first time when I traveled from Hong Kong back to Toronto, I was looking at it. Normally I don't see that, but when I travel from Hong Kong to Toronto, I see lots of people having masks. And those are not just when you go to the hospital, those kind of simple masks. Those are high technology masks. like a sticking out this big, and with a big filter, like a pig nose. Seriously, this a big one. It's not just a simple one, but it looks very fancy, high class, quite expensive, okay? So that's what they do, and they actually wear them on the aircraft. They do wear them. Will you? You won't, right?
No.
Won't go that far, right? Probably what I would do is, well, seriously, I am not a person quite, about that. I just, maybe I will not use blanket, but will I get on the airplane and wipe the whole thing? I don't know. Will you? No, maybe consider that, right? Will you clean the whole thing? Sometimes you people beside me clean that. I was thinking, oh my god, that's pretty uptight. What's that?
Like the dead skin cells just go around everywhere.
I know, it is. That's right.
It's so weird.
You don't know who's sitting.
Germs from their hands.
Yeah.
Like,
You don't know
if
who's
they wash
sitting
their hands.
before you, right?
What's the difference between there and here?
Yeah, that's right. What's the difference between here and the classroom and
The doorknobs.
but okay. So that's about the germs on the aircraft, and of course, when I talk about this, is when you have clients quite, they're quite uptight about that, so you can tell them what can they do to help them, and they can buy the sanitizer, they can buy the mask or whatever, right, and the gloves, whatever, to protect themselves. Okay. So that's number one, and you see, I look at this one, it's quite scary. This one is talking about how long those viruses can stay on the aircraft. You see, armrest, E. coli can stay for 4 days, and C. pocket can stay for 7 days. And so I think I have a review about it. Let's.
And I know that a healthy mouth. Frequent air travelers have been told to beware. Now, airplanes may be one of the safest, most convenient and quickest ways to get around the world, but they're not really the cleanest.
Right. A U.S. research team says bacteria that could cause illnesses can stay alive on various parts of the plane for up to a week, Paul Yee reports.
From armrests to seats and tray tables, just about anything you come into contact with on airplanes will be swarming with disease-causing bacteria. And making matters worse, these dangerous germs can linger for days. A team of researchers at Auburn University took actual parts of an airplane and examined the ability of bacteria to survive on their surfaces in real cabin conditions. The experiment found that methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus survived for 6 days on armrests and 5 days on tray tables. The bacteria, which is resistant to almost all drugs and can be life-threatening, lived up to a week inside seat pockets. The E. coli bacteria, which can cause intestinal inflammation, thrived for 4 days on armrests and 3 days on tray tables.
We figured out that these pathogens can remain on these surfaces over a week, and there is a high risk of them being transmitted from these surfaces to the fingers of the passengers.
A U.S. airline company, however, said that passengers shouldn't be worried, as disinfection procedures are routinely carried out inside the cabins every day. But experts advise passengers should wash their hands frequently and bring along a packet of sanitary wipes just to be safe. Paul Yee, Arirang News.
Oh, see, just to be safe, right? To wipe it, and that would be a good idea. Okay. So next one, a couple of things I want to talk about is airlines have little control over delays, especially now the winter is coming, right? And you will see more and more delays. And so especially in Ottawa, when we talk about delays, what kind of delays we're talking about? What are the causes? The weather. Weather is number one, right? Especially in Ottawa because of the snowstorm, right? That's weather. And So most of the time it's weather delays. So what do you think about the delays? You always hear this. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to let you know that our flight cannot leave, and we have to wait for to clean the snow out of it, to clean the de-icing. And do you believe them? Do you think it's always true?
I know it's true, I faced it when I was coming here, so.
Is that right? So you think it's true, right? I think it's true. And is anybody think like it's just an excuse for the airlines? So you know what? I'm gonna open this document, and this is actually an interview to a flight airline pilot. So what they say is airlines actually have little control over frustrating delays, and most of the time they don't want delay at all. Because think about it, pilot and flight attendant, do you think they're getting paid when they're on the tarmac?
Oh, no.
They don't get paid at all. And it sucks because sometimes snowstorm can last forever, right? And the problem is when the flight attendant or pilot, once they get on the airplane, they're counting the hours. They're not paid, but they're counting the hours because they're only allowed to work certain hours. And then the pilot union or flight attendant union, they count it's for safety reason. Because once they start working for certain hours, and even though the airplanes are ready to take off, but they are counting how many hours they have been working, and plus how many is a flight. If altogether it's over certain hours, they're not allowed to get on the airplane. So what they do is they have to change another crew. So which is cost more money for the airlines. And the flight attendant and pilot are frustrated because they're not getting paid. And they can't fly anymore for that day. So they don't want to delay at all. So they want the airplane to take off as early as possible, right? And so the company, airlines, the same thing. They don't want snowstorm too because if the aircraft is on the tarmac, they're not earning money. It has to be flying, right? So they don't want it. But many passengers, they get frustrated. They think that it's an airline's problem, but it actually has nothing to do with airlines. Right? Yes?
So in a weather delay, we know that the airplanes pay a lot per hour to be at.
Yeah,
gate.
tarmac. Yeah.
So what if there is a snowstorm and they can't get out of the gate, are they still charged?
Yeah.
Every hour they're, even though
Yes.
it's the weather?
As long as they're there, they'll be charged. Okay? So they don't like it either. It's awful for them, right? So that's what I'm saying. And let's look at this flight delays.
Hi, I'm travel expert Chris McGinnis, the editor of the Travel Skills blog. I'm here today to talk to you about what happens to nearly every frequent traveler, those delays and cancellations. Now the good news is that things are getting a little bit better when it comes to delays and cancellations. But the bad news is that they're never going to completely go away. But I have some tips and advice to help you deal with that situation.
Okay, so before we watch the video, and I'm going to ask you, if your flight is delayed, what can you help yourself to ease that? Because there's nothing you can do, right, for delays. What can you do to avoid the delays? Avoid cancellation? Are there any ways for your client or for yourself? Yes?
Usually
Early morning? So you book early morning flight, or, yeah, you book the earliest flight, right?
Yeah, because when I was coming back from Christmas break last year,
Yeah.
they canceled my flight back to Ottawa, like, kind of think it was delayed, like, super, like, late, and I was, like, supposed to leave at 5:30 from Toronto, and
Yeah.
I had to, like, stay in Toronto, and I ran like a giant panic attack, and it was horrible.
Is that right, huh?
But yeah, they asked, like, what time I wanted to leave in the morning, like, the next day, and,
Mhm.
like, they said it would be, easier
In the morning, right?
to
It
actually
actually,
run early in the morning.
it's very true because one reason is because early morning there's less traffic, right? When there's lots of airplanes, they're all lining to get a de-icing all the time, the delay will be even worse, right? That's a good idea. And what else? How can you avoid?
Well, phone ahead before you go to the
That's right, that's very smart. It's especially winter time, do not rush to the airport because sometimes the airlines know ahead of time. When there's a snowstorm or whatever, even though before it's coming, they cancel the flight anyway. So there's no point going to the airport, get jammed there, and may as well phone them ahead of time, right? Or sometimes you don't phone them, you can just get on the website and check the flight status, right? That's right. And so that's two ways. Let's see what expert suggestions.
My first tip is all about timing. If you've got to get to your destination on time, try to get on that first flight of the day, the one that departs at 6 or 7 a.m. That's because that plane's been probably parked overnight at the airport and it's going to get you going first thing in the morning.
Right, exactly like Bailey said. What they say, you get on the first flight because when it's 6 o'clock flight, it's not going to be flying from somewhere else coming here because that flight has already parked on the tarmac and just waiting for their first shift. And chances are that one will not be delayed. And it's because sometimes it's delayed, it's because you're waiting for the aircraft from somewhere else. And that is delayed, and then you are delayed too, right? So the first flight in the morning.
What you want to avoid are those flights later in the day that could be affected by big thunderstorms in the summer or snowstorms in the winter. Another suggestion is to learn to live out of a carry-on bag. Now, I know that that's a lot easier for some people than others, but the reality is that when you are stuck in a delay or cancellation situation, it's much easier for the airline to reaccommodate you on another flight if you have your carry-on bag with you.
This is so true. Because think about it. Because sometimes you say, for example, your flight is cancelled, right? Your flight not cancelled, it's delayed. And if you have checked bag, your bag is where? It's already in the car, in the airplane, right? And even though they can rearrange you through another city, but because what? You have to take all your bag out of the airplane, so it takes a long time. They won't do that for you. But if you only have carry-on, what you can do, if the flight is delayed, what they do is your bag, you don't have any bag, so what they do is Ottawa to Vancouver is cancelled, then they say, okay, I put you on the Ottawa to Toronto, Toronto to Vancouver. Then it's solved. Whereas you don't have to pick up your baggage and again, right? So that's what they say. So now, yes?
I have a friend when he travels with his wife.
Yeah.
They don't take luggage at all. They just take carry-on.
Yeah.
They buy their clothes when they get there that they need for the vacation, and they ship them home.
That's
Way back.
exactly me. When I travel to Asia, that's what they do. What I do, I always carry on, right? I only bring 2 pairs of underwear, 1 pair of fast dry. And so how do you call that? Fast dry shirt or whatever,
Oh, no
right?
wrinkle?
Sorry?
The no wrinkle shirt?
Yeah, no wrinkle and fast dry. It's very fast dry. And 1 shorts, fast dry shorts as well. That's all I bring, and then some toiletry, whatever. And when I get to the destination in Asia, what I do is I always buy the T-shirt at the local, some kind of signature, whatever T-shirt. So I have something to wear, and I don't have to worry about carrying my stuff. So souvenir and no checked baggage at the same time. So perfect, right? But not everybody can do that. Not everybody, especially female travelers, it's really, really hard for them not to bring some different clothes, right? For female travelers. And also for people travel with children, it's impossible. You have to bring all kinds of stuff, right? So carry-on will not solve the problem, right? But it will be much, much easier to do carry-on. Talking about carry-on, I'll tell you, like it's so much benefit. I flew with once from Beijing to Tokyo, and my flight was from Beijing to Narita Airport. And for some reason, Narita Airport has a thunderstorm. So the flight from Narita to Beijing is cancelled. But the flight from Beijing to Haneda, which is another airport in Tokyo, is on schedule. So because I don't have checked baggage, so what they say, okay, I'll just put you on that one. Because if I have checked baggage, it's already there. They won't do it for me at all because it's too much trouble for them to do that. Okay.
It's not so easy if you have a checked bag in the belly of the plane. One of the reasons things are getting better is technology. Airlines have become a lot better at letting us know ahead of time when there are problems on the horizon. It may sound obvious, but probably the most important thing you can do is be sure that the airline has your updated contact information, both your cell phone number and your email address. Now, another thing you can do is take matters into your own hands with a few apps out there that really help in these situations. Some of my favorites are Flight Stats or Flight Aware. These are 2 sites that really help you understand where your flight's coming from, and a lot of times will give you flight information before the airlines do. Airlines are much less likely these days to put you up overnight, so an app like Hotel Tonight means you push a button and they've got a list of some of the best hotel discounts in town. If you're stuck in a lengthy delay situation, you may want to consider waiting out the storm in an airline airport club. You don't necessarily have to be a member to get in. As a matter of fact, a lot of airport clubs will let you in for a fee of $35 to $50.
This is worth every single penny. Some people, when they have a long delays, what they do, they just get a corner at the airport and then just sleep there or whatever. You know, when some airlines will allow you to pay $40, $50 to stay at the club, like a lounge, and it worth every single penny. Sometimes they don't care how long you stay, and there's food, there's drink, there's shower, so much better way to deal with the delay.
When the flights from Toronto to Ottawa were cancelled,
Yeah.
and it actually made this situation like the passengers can reserve like in a hotel free of charge.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
great.
they give the nights.
Okay, that's fine. But nowadays, less and less airlines will pay you hotel, and especially when there's a weather problem, right?
Also, a lot of credit cards now offer club access as a perk. So it's a great place to get some peace and quiet. The first thing you need to do if your flight is canceled is get on the phone and call the airline to get rebooked. Don't go wait in line with everybody else. Finally, it's important to remember that if your flight is severely delayed or canceled, you are entitled to a full refund from the airline, even if they're trying to book you on another flight.
Have you ever thought about that? If yours is a long delays over certain hours, you are eligible for full refund. Like many people don't know that. You know? They just say, okay, book me somewhere, and but they don't know they're actually eligible for refund.
Hopefully you're never going to need any of this advice, but if you do, check out my website at travelskills.com for more help and information on what to do during delays and cancellations. I'm travel expert Chris McGinnis, and I hope you have a great trip.
Okay, so this is great. It's just the winter is coming, and your flights chances are they're gonna have cancellation or delay. So how do you avoid it? How do you deal with it? Okay. So talking about that is about the compensation. Many of us don't know that when your flight is delayed or canceled, you are actually eligible for some compensation. So now I'm gonna talk about denied boarding compensation. So this one is talking about denied boarding. When we talk about denied boarding, what kind of scenario are we talking about? Oversold. It's all about oversold. Most of airlines do oversold. I think WestJet does not do oversell. WestJet does not do that. But most of the airlines will do oversell. And in terms of denied boarding compensation, you see there are 4 countries. No, not country. EU is a region, right? So EU, USA, Canada, and Australia. Without reading that, which country or region do you think has the toughest denied boarding law regulation? When I talk about toughest, it's toughest for the airline and the most beneficial for the passengers. Which region or country? Australia? What do you think? EU? You guys have a totally different answer, right? The correct answer is actually EU. EU has the toughest law against the airlines, and you have lots of benefit in terms of compensation. I remember once, it's not just about airlines, actually for the train as well. I remember one time my train was from where? It was in Europe. It's about 45 minutes delay. And guess what? Everybody, when I get off the train, and there's a train staff, is waiting there at the exit, hand you the compensation form. So because your train is delayed, you're eligible for compensation. So they give you the form, and you can collect it. So I find it's great. But EU has the toughest one, and compared with EU, Canada is nothing. And actually lots of people are trying to lobby to the government, say this is not right. Airlines shouldn't get away for nothing, right? They should pay something, because when in terms of denying boarding or cancellation, the airline should pay the passengers some compensation, right? So if I open this one, I'm not gonna read the whole thing. And basically, EU has a toughest law against airlines in terms of denying boarding. And guess which country has the least, has no right for the passengers? Has no right for the passenger. It actually is Australia. Both USA and Canada has some kind of compensation, but Australia, I believe, is very little. Okay. So we're not gonna. This is internet is way too slow, and we're not gonna go there. Let me double click. Monday morning. Oh well, don't worry about it. It's I read it already. So it's EU has the toughest one, and in terms of denying boarding, and you get lots of compensation. Whereas Australia is less. Canada is not bad. It's getting better. And if you look at the Air Canada's website, and you will find when your flight is delayed or cancelled for some reason, and you're actually eligible for some money compensation. I believe it's like 400 baht or something about that. Okay, so that's industry news. Now we're gonna do the quiz. So let's get on Blackboard. Blackboard, we're going to week 9 quiz. And again, the quiz is actually today's quiz is so easy. I really had a hard time to create those 10 questions out of 7 codes. So if you don't get 2 out of 2, I'm just.
What's the password?
The password is Phuket. Phuket. P-H-U-K-E-T. Anybody knows where Phuket is? Phuket? Yeah. Phuket. It's all uppercase. Phuket. Okay. It's in Thailand. It's the second largest city in Thailand after Bangkok. Lots of tourists go there. After you finish the quiz and open the PowerPoint and wait for other people. Okay, everybody has finished, okay? So it's quite easy, isn't it? Today's is quite easy, okay? So there are only how many? 7 codes, right? I looked at it yesterday. And all of them are in which region?
Asia.
Asia, yeah, which part of Asia?
Southeast.
It's all in Southeast Asia. And what is the flight? Is this, how long is the flight from east coast of Canada to Southeast Asia?
15 hours.
What do you think? It's about 15 hours, right? Remember, do you know how the airplane fly over Pacific? When we fly from east coast of Canada or North America to Asia, do you know where do they fly through? How do they fly? They fly actually North Pole, right? They fly North Pole because think about it, it's a globe is round, right? It's a shortest way, it's a fly through North Pole. Now some people when they look at the map, but this way, flat way, they think, oh, cross Pacific is the shortest one, but they don't fly that. They actually fly through North Pole. And that's the reason why when they fly from east coast of North America to Asia, they actually fly through Russia, Europe, Russia, right? And then go all the way to Asia. When they fly to Asia, it's a closer flying to Tokyo, Japan, and China. Then when they fly down to Southeast Asia, so it takes longer time to fly into Southeast Asia than to other part of Asia, right? So when you fly into Kuala Lumpur and Manila and Singapore, especially Singapore, is there's no non-stop flight from east coast of North America to Singapore because it's way too long. If it's non-stop, it's about 18, 19 hours, so it's too long, okay? And Taipei is quite far as well. And Bangkok, I don't think there's non-stop flight from east coast. From west coast, yes, okay? And Vietnam, there's depending on the north or south. Think about Vietnam, just you don't have to know the geography for every single detail. All I need you to know is it in the south or north? And for Vietnam is extreme. It's Ho Chi Minh City is way down south, whereas Hanoi is way up north. Okay, so that's these are all the gateways. All I need to know is a gateway of each country. I don't need you to know all the little details. I don't care. I only care where the airplane, big airplane, 747 flying to, not like small airplane. So that's for the codes, not a lot. Okay, thank you very much. Next week the codes will be a little bit more. Okay, so that's quiz. And now let's talk about your up-to-date mark. Up to now, this is on the top 3 is what you have already finished the evaluation. So 8% online quiz we've already done. Okay, all your marks on Blackboard, and there's 2% online quiz next week. Then that's it. No more online quiz anymore. Okay, and we've already done 5% workshop. So most of you got 5. I think all of you here got 5 out of 5. And then we did 20% with this test. So until week 9, we only did 33%, not a lot. So most of the marks are after this week, okay? So let's see what are the remaining. So some of you, if you didn't do well for week 6 test, that's all right. You have lots of time, other evaluation to catch up, okay? So the remaining evaluation, so next week we have a 2% online quiz, and week 11, we have 20% test. Okay, 20% test. Again, this 20% test only covers whatever we have learned after week 6 test. Okay? So it's not accumulated. It's not accumulated. Okay, for this part. And then we have week 12 and week 13, we have 2 workshops. Okay? So for our workshop, it's quite easy. You come here, you do the exercise, you finish the workshop, then you get full mark. Okay, so this is an easier part. And then week 14, next week I'm going to talk about this certificate. And you have 4 weeks to finish it. And by week 14, you're going to hand in this 5% certificate. So you get you finish the certificate, you get 5%. Okay, so that's one. And this will count as an online lesson as well. There's no more OTT certificate from next week. after that. So it's going to be the online certificate for this One World Academy. Okay. Then final exam is 30%. So you will find most of the marks are actually after this week. Okay, after this week. So you have lots of time to catch up if you didn't do well for week 6 test. Make sense? So this is clear? And I have your up-to-date mark. If you're not sure on Blackboard how to read it, I have it here. So during the break, you can come here and ask me. Okay? So that's for your up-to-date mark. And now we're going to talk about non-alliances members. So most of the major airlines belong to 3 major alliances, which are Star Alliance, One World, and SkyTeam. Okay? So which one is the largest alliance? Star Alliance. And you will find we use it a lot. Another reason why is because our national carrier is Air Canada, so you will find we use a lot of Star Alliance. But there are some non-alliance members. They are quite big as well. Okay, most of them are not that big airlines, but there are a couple of them. We are going to focus on 2 of them. They are super big airlines, and but they don't belong to any alliances. They are on their own. Okay, there's reason. There's reason why they are on their own. It's not always good to be part of alliances, because sometimes when you are part of alliance, you are actually helping each other. You are actually, your profit are divided, right? Whereas when you are on yourself, your profit goes to yourself. Okay. So number 1, we're going to talk about Emirates. Emirates airline. Okay. Emirates have you ever heard about Emirates? I'm sure you ever heard. What do you think about Emirates from what you know about the Emirates? What's that? Fancy, that's right, fancy airline. Why do you think Emirates is fancy? They're in Dubai. Well, makes sense, right? Dubai, where the money is. Not so oil, right? That's right. Fancy, absolutely. It's a signature of Emirates. It is fancy. And there are lots of things we're going to talk about why Nikki says it's fancy. Okay? What else about Emirates? From what you know.
A lot of business travel.
Lots of business travelers. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Lots of business travelers. And what else about the Emirates? I've never flown with Emirates.
They're comfortable.
They're comfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah, why do you think they're comfortable?
Because the things that they provide, the small TVs plus
Oh, okay.
facilities
So
and
it's like a
everything.
cabin
And-
comfort,
Yes,
right?
and they have more options.
They have more options.
Media options. They
Okay.
have more of them, and they have some things for kids as well.
Okay, so it's like an in-flight entertaining system,
Yeah.
right? It's more comfortable, right? Yes, that's right. And what else about the Emirates? No?
Their destinations are expanding.
That's right, exactly. They are expanding their network. Like the more routes, right? They fly more and more, and they have more and more aircrafts, right? So all in all, why do they expanding this big time? Why they can afford expanding this big time? Because of oil, because of money, because this is a government-run enterprises, airlines, right? So they have lots of money, they can afford. So they're always like in business, they always say, go big or go down, right? So actually they are going what? They're going big. Okay. So let's see. First of all, let's look at some facts about Emirates. And Emirates, their hub is in Dubai. Okay, as we all know, it's in Dubai. And United Arab Emirates and DXB, that's their hub. And in Dubai, actually, they are actually thinking about building a new airport in Dubai because Emirates is expanding big time. The current airport is not big enough. They're trying to build another one. Has anybody been to Dubai? You did?
I lived there for 22 years.
No. Really? Oh my God. Do you like? Well, tell me about the Dubai. Never been there.
One of the most beautiful cities.
Is it? Why do you think it's a why it's beautiful?
City of lights. It's always like there's always entertainment. You go out at 2 in the morning, you'll still find the malls open. You can,
Is that right?
yeah.
But sorry, I'm kind of like as a female, are you allowed to go everywhere?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, Dubai is like really safe. Of course, it's after 2 o'clock. Any place is slightly sketchy. You should
Yeah,
meet
yeah.
someone.
But even daytime, you can travel by yourself
Yes.
as female?
I've done it all the time.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, all my friends do it, and some of them even travel like later in the night till 2 o'clock. Everything's fine out.
Is that right, Okay, because from what I think or what I heard is that female travelers have to be cautious, It's a culture.
No, because in Dubai it's more like
cosmopolitan, multi.
yeah, and even nationals over there, they're pretty open about everything.
Is it?
Yes, Dubai is more open than most Middle East countries.
Okay, so because of international
Yes.
interest. Okay, that's good. So Dubai, wow, good. I need to learn a lot about Dubai. Okay. So the hub is Dubai, and did you notice that? Did I say Emirates is a national carrier of UAE? I didn't write it, right? Because it is not. It is the largest airline in UAE, but it's not national carrier. We're going to talk about who is national carrier of UAE, okay? And it's largest airline in Middle East. And in Middle East, for some reason, well, I guess it's because of oil, and there's some airlines, several airlines are very, very big. So there are two major airlines which are not part of alliances we're going to talk about today. And the last week we talked about a couple, right? Which airline? We talked about Qatar Airways, right? Doha. And that one belongs to alliances, right? And also the other one is Royal Jordanian, right? And they're quite big, but they're not as big as these two, okay? But they don't belong to the alliances. And for Emirates, another thing is they don't have small airplanes. All their airplanes are wide-body aircraft, either 777 or A380. Okay, they don't have small airplanes, so they actually have 140 A380s. Not all of them are on service. There are 53 are on service. There's some of them are ordering, so we can tell how in the future how big they can get, right? Because they're ordering those big aircraft. So wide body. And they actually operate 4 of the world's longest non-stop flights. Remember last class we talked about the longest flight was Qantas from where to where? From Sydney to Dallas, DFW, right? And actually Emirates, they operate all this at their very longest non-stop flight. And let's see, from Dubai to Los Angeles, think about this. Dubai is in the Middle East. We are flying to west coast. So how long is the flight? This one, if you look at the right corner, and from Los Angeles, distance from Dubai. Duration to Dubai is 16 hours, 25 minutes. And coming back is shorter, 15 hours, 50 minutes. This is pretty long flight. And in fact, if you fly to San Francisco, DFW, and Houston, they're quite long too. And when you fly to East Coast, it's not that long. Flying to East Coast is about 12 hours. So you know what? Let's see how long is the flight. Okay? Do a quick availability. We know to Los Angeles 16 hours, right? Let's see. It's to San Francisco. It's a little bit shorter, 15 hours, 50 minutes. Let's see return how long. $15 hours, 35 minutes. This one is to San Francisco. And let's see to DFW. How long is the flight? DFW. Okay. To Dallas. Dallas is actually 16 hours. Imagine how long, and this is a non-stop flight. Look, it's zero, okay? It's 16 hours from DFW to Dubai. And next one is to where? To Houston, right? Let's see how long is to Houston. Should be close. Houston, line number 3. Oh, 16 hours, 20 minutes. You see? All these are quite long flights for Emirates. That's the reason why its comfort is very important for them. Because when it's long haul flight, and if it's so small or in-flight entertainment system sucks, and then it can be brutal, right? So that's, they have long flight. So this one is from DXB Dubai to all the American destination. And this one is, look at this one, they fly actually to many destinations in North America. Which one? There's one we're going to talk about later, to Canada. Remember, I don't need you to know how long, where they fly into the United States. But I need you to know around, what is time? How long does it take around, okay? For example, I will ask you, how long is a flight from DXB to DFW? It can be 11 hours, okay? So you have a ball range. It's about 15 to 16 hours, right? To this coast, okay? So we have some general idea. And now let's look at this one. This is Emirates A380 hub. When we talk about big airlines, they are big because in Dubai, they actually have a terminal. This terminal is designed for A380, okay? Because when you try to accommodate A380, you need to change the gate. Because some, like for example, Ottawa, I don't know whether we can accommodate A380. But when you try to accommodate A380, they have to change the gate a little bit. Because for example here, you will find what's the difference? They are actually upper level and lower level when they get in, okay? So they have different, they can attach to different parts of the aircraft. This way, when it's designed this way, it's basically help them to load the people in faster, much faster, and unload people much faster. Remember the rule is that the shorter you stay at the tarmac, the more money. And because an airline, what they try to do, they want to get the airplane in the air. Because if the airplane is not in the air, they don't earn any money. Okay, so that's their goal. So this is the whole terminal is designed for A380. So let's look at some facts about this A380 hub. And on the ground, actually there is a train connecting for all the gates. Okay. Have you been to this one terminal? No. Okay. Have you traveled with Emirates before? Yes. Have you traveled on A380?
I know it was quite a
long time ago, right? Okay. So let's look at some fast facts. Okay. So this one, date of opening is actually last year. Okay. And how many gates? They only have 20 gates. But remember, this is an A380 gate, so it's bigger. Okay. And how many airline counters? They have 50, and they actually have a hotel right there, and the building are big. And number of floors, 11 floors. And area, the lounges, first class lounge and business. This one, remember David said, lots of business travelers? Because they have A380, they actually fit lots of business and first class passengers. So lots of business travelers travel with Emirates. I'll tell you why business travelers love to travel with Emirates. It's all about the Nikki said. It's a luxury, fancy. Because business travelers, do they pay themselves? They don't. First of all, they don't pay themselves. Second of all, even though they pay themselves, it's probably tax deductible. Right? Makes sense, right? So they don't care how much does it cost. So why don't they go with the fancy ones? They go with Emirates, right? A380. So that's why you see they have lots of a first class and business class lounge. I will show you the lounge, how many people they can take. I think the first class lounge, they can take about 1,200 people. It's huge, okay? Oh, I'm eating a little bit. Seating capacity, even first class, they're 1,491. So that means, and the conference room too, there's a la carte dining, and then look at the business class lounge, even more. 2552 people. Okay, so think about how many business travelers using Dubai as their hub. Okay, there's reason. Here we go, and that's an A380 hub. This is a very unique, one of the world. Nowhere else you see this is the hub. The whole hub is for A380s. Okay, because how many? Remember I said they have over 100 A380s for Emirates. And the next one we talk about is chauffeur drive. Chauffeur drive. Without reading this, what do you think about this? What kind of service is it?
It's like a private driver.
Sorry?
Private driver driving a limo.
Driving in the limo to where?
To the airport.
To the airport or?
Commute between airport and hotel.
Oh, airport or hotel, right? So everybody can use this service? Do you think everybody can use this service? Well, who's qualified? Who's eligible? Business class and first class. That's right. That's exactly what it's about. So you see, very professional. What's happening is that this one, without going there, I just want to explain it. Is when you travel first or business class, right? And you are eligible for free chauffeur drive. So within certain distance, okay? And then once you book your ticket, you make the reservation. You have to make a reservation. Tell them where to pick you up and where to drop you off. And the chauffeur will drive there with a Mercedes-Benz, I think, or BMW. I don't remember the car. What type of it? King Click? What kind of car it is?
No, my computer just shut down.
Okay. So so this one, and then they will pick you up and drive you into the destination. Okay, very fancy. And there are many cities in the world offer this service. Many cities in the world. And I show you Toronto because we're in Canada, right? In Toronto, you are actually allowed within 80 driven kilometers of YYZ. The mileage cannot be exceeded. Service not available between terminals. So this one basically 80 kilometers. I don't know. Is that Hamilton? Is it okay within 80 kilometers from Toronto?
Yes.
And how about Niagara Falls? A little bit further, right? Yeah. So 80 kilometers. I'm sure the big GTO area will be covered, right? Around Toronto area will be covered. 80 kilometers. So it's quite good. And anywhere basically in Toronto. Is if you fly Emirates business or first class, they should be able to arrange you to pick you up. So talk about the fancy, right? So that's chauffeur drive. And of course, you have to travel business first class, and also you have to book ahead of time. Okay, so that's chauffeur drive. Let me see, I'm interested to know what type of car. Oh, they don't tell you. More photo. Mercedes-Benz. So that's chauffeur drive. And now let's look at the route map. Remember, we see this saw this picture last slide, and all I care, I've been flying to many places in North America, especially in the States, but they do fly into Canada. Which destination fly into Canada? Of course, it's Toronto, right? You'll find Emirates a little bit different with the other two Middle East airlines. Remember Qatar Airways and Royal Jordanian? Where do they fly to? They actually fly into Montreal, those two. But for Emirates and the next airline, they actually fly into Toronto, okay? So from Toronto to Dubai, and look at the flying time, guys. Now you are actually into the East Coast. Remember the West Coast from Dubai, how long is duration? 15, 16 hours, right? But when you fly into East Coast, it's not that far anymore. It's because we are closer to Middle East, right? So it's still not close. It's 14 hours or 13 hours, depending on which direction, okay? So 13, 14 hours, and from Dubai. And they fly into Toronto. In fact, they use A380 into Toronto. Not all the destinations they use A380, but Toronto they do use A380. Can anybody tell me how do they decide which destination use A380, which destination use some other fleet aircraft?
Couple things, depends on the
Yeah.
amount of travelers,
Depending on,
the amount of travelers
Yeah.
that use the route,
Mhm.
size of the runway.
yeah, it's only because the airport, can they accommodate the A380? Most of the bigger airport can, right? That's not a problem. Number two, the major reason is because can this destination fuel the aircraft? Because A380 is the largest one, it's 500 people, right? If I put it into Ottawa, there's no way they're gonna fuel the aircraft, right? So they have to put somewhere, make sure the airplane can be filled, right? And also think about the business class travelers, right? Because when it's A3, depending on the configuration, they can put lots of business class seats, right? Basically, for Emirates, sometimes it's at the whole upper level. It's business and first class, okay? So they have to think about strategically which destination, which route they use A380. And I think they decide to use A380 for Toronto, okay? So to East Coast, it's about 12, 13, 14 hours. So let's look at one sample itinerary, okay? Look at this sample itinerary. And where is this? Yeah, India, right? So what is this place called? Taj Mahal, okay, Taj Mahal. I always want to go, but have you been there? No, eh? Anybody has been there? I always want to go. The only problem is that my holiday is always in the summer, and it's brutal to go to India in the summer. It's almost unbearable because the heat. It's 40 degrees, 500% humidity, and it's just unbearable. So I've lost my colleagues, Indian friends and colleagues tell me don't go there in the summer, but that's the only time on vacation. But India, Taj Mahal, okay? And Taj Mahal, and it's not in, where do you fly to if you want to go to India? What are the gateway you fly to? Delhi, right? For Delhi. Delhi is a major gateway, right? So for this one, Taj Mahal, actually, it's closer to fly to Delhi rather than Mumbai. So this one, you will fly to Delhi, and it is not located in Delhi. You have to do the transportation again. How far is it?
I think it's to Lucknow.
What's that?
From here you have to go to Lucknow.
Yeah? How far is it from Delhi to this place?
I don't, actually, I just want.
It's not close. It's not like you fly into Delhi and then you get there within an hour. No, it doesn't. Okay? But you do fly into Delhi and then do the local transportation. Okay? So Delhi, and from Toronto to Delhi, first of all, is there any non-stop flight from Toronto to Delhi? Used to be. Air India operates Toronto to Delhi. But they don't operate anymore. So now if you fly from Toronto to Delhi, there is no non-stop flight. You have to connect either in the States or in the West Coast of USA, okay? But when you fly with Emirates, so what is the itinerary? If you fly with Emirates from Toronto to Delhi, connecting where? Dubai, makes sense, right? Because think about it, whichever airline you use, you have to use their hub. For Emirates, it's Dubai, right? So Toronto to Dubai, Dubai to Delhi, right? But now, I'm just gonna ask you, think about it. If you have some, I know you haven't learned geography for Asia, right? But think about the globe. How long is it? We know the flight from Toronto to Dubai is 14 hours, right? How long do you think from Dubai to Delhi?
4 hours.
Ballpark.
4.
That's right. I used to think it's still quite far because Delhi is in Asia, right? I thought the Middle East to Asia is quite far. But think about it. Asia, south, depending on which part of Asia, India is actually very close to Middle East. It's actually only 4 hours to Dubai. So when you travel from east coast of Canada to India, Pakistan, Dubai is an excellent choice for connection. The time is quite short. It's probably the shortest one you can get when you connect in Dubai, okay? So let's look at this one. February 11th to May 14th, we're gonna travel there. So, okay, so for this one, I have lots of options. When I have a lot of options, what does it mean? it means there are more than one flight, right? But is there more than one flight from Toronto to Dubai a day? How many flights from Toronto to Dubai? You only have actually only one. Flight 242. 242, right? Line number 1, line number 3, line number 5. They're all 242. From Toronto to Dubai, they only have one option, okay, with Emirates. But between Dubai to Delhi, how many options? You have quite a lot. Because traffic between Dubai and India is huge, okay? Because India population is huge, and most people from North America, when they travel to India, they're actually using Emirates a lot. So that's why between Dubai and India, there are lots of flights. And also, think about Dubai. There are lots of people working there, foreign workers. Lots of from India and Asia. The traffic between Dubai and India is huge as well. So that's why you see lots of flights. And let's see how long is their flight and see whether it's what we thought. Unfortunately, it doesn't help this way. I have to do star SVC, Y1 star. So from Toronto to Dubai with A380, 388, 12 hours 45, 13 hours. And from Dubai to Delhi, it's actually shorter than 4 hours, only 3 hours. Think about 3-hour flight. It's from Ottawa to where? It's 3 hours within Canada. Calgary. Ottawa to Calgary is about 3 hours. Okay, so it's not that far. Huh? So that's from coming back. Let's see coming back. What's the date? 14th of May. of May, it's the same thing. It's a longer coming back from Dubai back to Toronto. It's 14 hours. Going there is 13 hours, and coming back is 14 hours. And 3:30 minutes to Dubai. Okay, so it's pretty good. And how long is the connection? Okay. Okay, not too bad. The connection is about 4 hours. Okay, in Dubai. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so any idea how much does it cost flying to India? Let's do $1 a day. It's not bad, huh? 700 before taxes is 752. So after tax, I assume it'll be $1,400. $1,400. Okay. Like what I said, when you travel from East Coast North America to India and Pakistan, and using Middle East is the best connection point. You don't waste any. You don't do any backtracking. You go all the way that direction. Okay, so there's no backtracking. So it's the most time, less time consuming. Okay. So that's Emirates itinerary. Now let's look at the before the break. We watch a couple of video about Emirates. So we talk about Emirates is fancy. We talk about Emirates is big. Okay. And also we're gonna watch a couple of videos. And also I show you 3 short videos about what do you think. Do you want to work with Emirates? Because Emirates, they actually come to Canada every year to hire people.
My friend is working there.
Is that right?
Yeah, she's from Scotland.
I was from Scotland, right? Okay.
So she graduated from university like 4 months ago.
Okay.
And she got trained, 8-week training in Dubai.
Yeah.
And she's been to 8 countries in the past 1 month.
I know. Let's see, huh?
Hello, A380.
That's the tallest building in Dubai. That's A380 hub we're talking about. Sorry, I just want to pay attention to this one. Guys, look at this. How many entrances to that aircraft? There are actually 3. Normally, in a smaller aircraft, there's only 1, right? Most of the time, I think I did 2, the bigger airplane, but I've never seen 3. This one is 1, 2, 3, and that one is to the upper cabin. It's probably first class, and this one is probably business class and the economy. Okay, so it's because this way the only way to load it up very fast, because otherwise it's going to take forever. Imagine 500 people loading in a short time, right? So that's Concorde A. Talking about the fancy, yeah? Watergate cannon salute. This one is whenever it's introduce a new route to some airport, they always give this kind of celebration. So that's Emirates to Dallas. Okay, just want to show you some ideas about A380. Okay, and the next one I'm going to show you is chauffeur drive. So we talk about it, and it's a very funny commercial. So chauffeur drive all the way to the golf course, right? But you can, because as long as within 80 kilometers, you can drive, awesome drive anywhere. So next 3 short videos talk about and what are you gonna expect if you work for Emirates? Okay, so this talking about Emirates crew, starting from where does the recruitment starts, and about the job and about the traveling.
First of all, we thank you for your interest and all the questions that you have submitted online. Over the next few minutes, we're going to do our best to try and answer a few of these for you. My name's Richard, I'm from New Zealand. I've been with Emirates for the last 8 years as an onboard senior flight steward.
And my name's Kate, I'm from the UK. I've been with Emirates for the past 3 years and I work as a grade 1 in the business class cabin.
And we're coming to you today from the Airbus A380 onboard lounge.
Caesar, thank you.
What were the processes of the recruitment for you?
I remember initially applying online where I was invited to an open day and then after that lots of group assessments.
I think every year the open day for Canada in East Coast is in Montreal. Okay, so I think they do it in the hotel. I think 1 year they did it in Ottawa as well.
Reach test.
Yeah, for me it was like a game show on the first day. You go through several rounds and you get told throughout the day whether you've made the next cut. Yeah. And once you've done that and you've processed, you have a one-on-one interview and then they let you know over time when's going to be the best time for you to start.
If you get the golden call.
Be patient is my advice.
How many languages do you need to speak to work for Emirates?
To work for Emirates you need to speak at least 8. No, I'm kidding. Two languages is a bonus, but obviously just English is the paramount language that's used in Dubai.
Is swimming essential as cabin crew?
While swimming is not necessarily essential, it is obviously a bonus to be able to swim, but during your training you will need to show that you're comfortable being in the water with a life jacket on though. What are 3 important qualities for being a cabin crew member?
I think being positive is one of the most important qualities.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously being positive, being able to adapt to situations is obviously key to our job.
Yeah. And being friendly and approachable is probably quite important.
And definitely that's something that you're obviously using in your day-to-day life as cabin crew. Can you be an Emirates cabin crew member if you don't have the perfect smile?
I think it's more important to have a genuine smile.
I'd have to agree with Kate. Obviously a genuine smile goes a long way, as you can tell from Kate. Do you have to live in Dubai to work for Emirates?
Yes, you do have to live in Dubai to work for Emirates. All of Emirates provided accommodation is in Dubai, but it is a great place to live.
Yeah, this is different with some other airlines. Some other airlines, remember I showed you the Finnair. They have a Shanghai base. And some, like for example, Air Canada, we have Toronto base, we have a Montreal base, we have a Vancouver base. But for Dubai, it's all Dubai base. They don't have anywhere else. All the flight attendant, cabin crew, they have to stay in the dormitory in Dubai. Okay, so they have no choice.
Yeah, it certainly is a great place to live. We get people from all around the world that are actually paying money to come here on holidays, whereas we get to live here for free, so I certainly very much enjoy it. How long is our training?
The training course lasts for 7.5 weeks, but this is made up of lots of different subjects, including safety, medical, service training.
Yeah. What's one of the most rewarding things about working for Emirates?
For me, it has to be the travel, the amount of places you get to go to and see that I would never have seen in a lifetime if I didn't work for Emirates.
Yeah, I totally agree. A lot of these places you would go to, but then there's a lot that you wouldn't. So getting to experience that's obviously great. Is there any restrictions for having tattoos with Emirates? I think you'll agree, as long as we don't have any visible tattoos while we're in uniform, I think it's pretty alright. I mean, Kate manages to keep all her tattoos well hidden.
Yeah, for the talking about tattoo, and it's not just about the airlines, and actually every year we have students working for Disney, going to the States. That's one requirement. You can't have tattoo, okay? At least not visible. Not visible, okay? For the Emirates, it's the same thing. And depending on the culture, many cultures, tattoo is, for us it's normal, right? But for some cultures, it's a taboo, okay? Some cultures they don't like it. And for example, when I was in Japan actually, if you have a tattoo, like visible tattoo, and the people there, when the Gan people, they have tattoo. So that's why it's not very treated a little bit different.
What's one piece of advice, Kate, that you'd give to people that are looking at applying for Emirates?
I think the advice I would give people is if you enjoy your role with working with customers, then you will very much enjoy being cabin crew.
Yeah, I agree. I think as long as you're up for the adventure and you're a people person, then you can't go wrong.
So that's recruitment, okay? And it's the competition is fierce, okay? And every year, lots of people want to be a cabin crew and want to work for Emirates. And because when you work for Emirates, again, there's no domestic flight. All the flights, most of the flights are long haul, like 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours, 15 hours, okay? So very competitive. But you are, as especially if you speak a second language, it's actually bonus for them because they have routes to all parts of the world, right? For example, if you speak Japanese and English, then they can put you on the Dubai to Tokyo. If you speak Chinese and English, Dubai to Beijing. If you speak French and English, Dubai to Paris, right? So, and to Africa as well, lots of African countries. So that's recruitment. So let's see, what about the job? What do they say about the job?
First of all,
Sorry. Oh my lord. What
Hi, I am...
Sorry, I apologize. Did too fast.
First of all,
And my name's Kate, I'm from the UK.
Onboard Lounge.
I want to know why you chose to work for Emirates.
Other than having friends that worked for Emirates and they couldn't speak highly enough of it as a company, I chose to come over here. It was a company that was developing and very young and still in a stage of growth, so that was a big reason for me coming over here.
This is a very good point. Some people say when I want to join the company, I want to join Air Canada. I want to work for Air Canada. Well, There's benefit of working with Air Canada, it's a big airline, right? But think about it, Air Canada has been there for how long? Many, many years. Many of their cabin crews have been there for 20 years. Their seniority is up to here. When you start, your seniority down there. Okay, so there's a big difference. Seniority plays a big role in the airline industry, right? But when you work for the new airline, and there are lots of opportunities, less people working there started, and it's very easy for you to go up, right? And your seniority go up very fast. So that's a benefit.
How about you, Kate?
Yeah, same. It's expanding so rapidly, and promotion opportunities here are fantastic, and there's always so many other fields you can go into other than the cabin crew side of it. It's such a huge company. What is the salary benefits of being Emirates cabin crew?
Of course, having a tax-free salary is always a bonus, and it is very competitive compared to other industries and jobs around Dubai and also the world.
And the benefits are endless. We have discounts all over Dubai. Our staff travel is amazing, the discount.
Yeah, I agree. I think you just have to look at our credit card statements at the end of the month to just realise how good our perks actually are. We actually have a club that is run by Emirates Cabin Crew for Emirates Cabin Crew. That's called our Face Card. And that gets us a variety of discounts around Dubai and a few around the world actually as well.
What is the medical package you receive with Emirates?
In terms of medical, we get full medical coverage while in Dubai. Also, we're fully insured as cabin crew when we are travelling abroad, and we do get dental cover as well.
We do, yes. They do look after us. How many years does it take to be in-flight supervisor or purser?
That can vary anywhere from the operational requirements of the airline to how long you've been here, to basically how good your record is with the company.
It's very quick. Promotion is very quick here.
Certainly one of the leading companies in terms of promotion and the speed which you can actually get there. How many destinations that we've flown to?
I won't have flown to as many as you, Richard, but I think I'm probably around the 50 mark now, so 50 destinations for me.
Okay, 50. I think from memory, Emirates flies to over 140 these days. I think I'd probably be well over 100.
Wow, that's a lot of places. How long are the layovers, and do you get a chance to explore the city you're in?
After being 8 years as crew, I still get a chance to go out and explore new destinations. But main thing for me is if I do go to a new destination, I'm able to find places that I do enjoy, and then I can tick that one that I want to go back to and spend a bit longer there.
Yeah, you have plenty of time. The layovers are generally around 24 hours, but some are 48.
Yeah, 48, and we have the odd one which is 72, but mid.
Do you know why? Most of the 24 hours, why there are 48 and 72 hour layover? Why?
Change shift. Like, just emergency.
They need 72 hours for maintenance. Think about the transaction we learned from CR. There's one transaction. Because sometimes there's they don't run daily. If it's a daily flight, what's happening? 24 hours, right? What's happening is they fly Dubai to Dallas. Then they get up Dallas, they go to a hotel, they stay for 24 hours. Next day this time, they fly back, right? But what if it's they only run Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? Then it's going to be what? Monday the flight comes here, right? And they stay there for 72 hours because the next flight coming back is 72 hours later, right? So that's not because of the schedule. So depending on the destination, then they might stay there most of the time 24 hours because daily flight. But sometimes it can be what? 48, 72. It'll be great. Your 72 hours will be great. So you have plenty of time to explore, right?
Majority of them, 24.
Yeah, plenty of time to see lots of things and explore the world. Is there a particular haircut that the male cabin crew should have?
I don't think there's a particular haircut that we have to have. I just think as long as we adhere to the grooming standards and you look smart and neat at all times, I think that's pretty much it.
And you do look very smart, Richard.
So that's about their job, okay? And the next one is about the travel benefit. This is what we...
First of all, we thank you for your interest.
One in the business class cabin.
And we're coming to you today from the Airbus destination.
I'd be lying if I said anywhere other than home, but second to that, I love New York because I love to go shopping.
Yeah, New York's a great place. Also for me, I really like Rome. I appreciate good food over there, culture, just the place as a whole was really great. What kind of emotions were you going through during your first flight with Emirates?
It was a whole mix of emotions. On my first flight, I felt nervous. I also felt excited. There was no reason to feel nervous as all the crew do make you feel very comfortable. Do you remember your first flight, Richard? It was a long time ago.
Yeah, thanks for rubbing that in, Kate. Yes, it was a long time ago, but at the same time I do agree. I was nervous, but at the same time very excited just to actually be online and operate my first flight.
How do the rosters work?
The rosters are released once a month, so it's a monthly roster. And that's released, and depending on where you sit within that roster, you're actually able to bid for flights after the first 6 months of flying.
So that's what I was talking about, seniority plays a big role. It's called a roster. It's basically like a schedule. Like you want to know where you're going to fly to next month, how many flights you're going to do. And it's on a bidding system. So the higher seniority, you bid first. Then you bid like 16-hour flight. Then you fly less, right? Or fly less shift. So that's a roster. If you are low seniority, then somebody else bid that already, so you fly the short haul. Okay? So that's the one.
So you can request your favourite destinations or ask to go home if you have a special occasion or event. You don't always get these, but...
No, you don't, but every now and then they do come through, especially when you need them. I had a friend's wedding which I needed to be in a couple of months ago, so I was able to bid for that and lucky enough to be able to attend that. How many flights do you have per month?
I have on average...
How many do you think? A month, how many flights do they run? Have a guess.
10 max.
10? Mac, what do you think?
About 10 to 15.
10 or 15, right?
Like 6.
6
to 8.
It depending on how long is your flight, right?
Yeah.
If you fly from Dubai to Delhi, then you probably will have more. But if you fly from Dubai to Los Angeles, you probably have less, right? So let's see how many do you think?
8 flights per month.
I'm very similar to Kate. I generally have between 5 and 8 flights.
Do you know why he's less than her?
Because he's in a higher
That's
position.
right, because it's higher seniority, so he's always bidding for what? Dubai to Los Angeles. And when it's longer flight, you have less shift, right? So think about 1 month, you only fly 5 times, then you are done. Pretty neat, huh?
But for example, one of those flights could be made up of 6 days away from base, and that actually is classified as one flight, so it does vary.
As cabin crew, do you find it a stressful job?
I'm sure as you'll agree, Kate, that there are elements of the job that can be stressful, but on the day-to-day runnings, no, it's not too bad at all.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a stressful job. Do you get scared of flying sometimes, especially during turbulence?
I tend to find that I don't get scared after flying. It may sound strange, but after 8 years, I actually quite enjoy a bit of turbulence.
I'm the same. I don't get scared of flying either during the turbulence. We wouldn't be very good cabin crew if we did get scared.
Yeah, it wouldn't look too good to the customers if we started to freak out at a bit of turbulence.
What is the hardest part of the job and what has been your most memorable flight?
I guess I'll cover the hardest part of the job. I wouldn't put it down to being hard as much as challenging. That would certainly be getting up for me at 3 o'clock in the morning or midnight to go on a flight. While this can be challenging, if hard, you do get used to it over a period of time.
And for me, my most memorable flight has to be when my family were on a flight that I had the pleasure of operating on. And that was really nice for me as I got to look after them during that flight when they were coming to Dubai on vacation. How do you stay positive during a long flight?
At times, although it may be difficult to stay positive, for me, I just look forward to the place I'm going. We're going to these great destinations, put up in 5-star accommodation.
Yeah, and we do all very much enjoy the job.
Yeah, it's a great job. Other cabin crew manage to look and stay looking so pristine even after long flights.
During long flights, we do replenish our makeup, and when we join the company, we do a full day with image and grooming. They show us how to wear the uniform, how to do our makeup and hair. This is for the male and the female cabin crew.
Yeah, I still remember that. So it is for male and female, and there is constant monitoring on our grooming through each flight that we go on.
Where the cabin crew sleep on board.
Obviously, being a very young cabin crew, we don't require a lot of sleep, but when we do, it is actually down the bunk. They provide us with a crew rest compartment where we have allocated time throughout the flight.
Yeah, we have bunk beds and we have our crew pajamas that we wear when we go there.
Have you seen those kind of compartment on the aircraft? Yeah. It's quite neat. It's quite neat. It's sometimes it's on the below the cockpit, right? That area. And if you Google, you find the cabin crew sleeping area. It's very neat. And so what they do is they take shifts, especially with a 16-hour flight. There's no way you run all 16 hours. So they take shift and then they sleep. And there is not the elevator, stairs. And you go down and it's quite neat.
It's always a pleasure, very nice.
How do you manage the jet lag?
It's different from me to all my friends, but me personally, when I arrive in a destination, I try my best to get on the time zone as fast as I can for that country.
Yeah, that does help. Also trying to stick with a routine when you're in Dubai. If you have a healthy lifestyle, if you eat well, if you go to the gym, all of Emirates accommodation does have gyms provided, so it is easy to do that.
Sleep when you're tired, but just general healthy, clean living. What's our favourite aircraft to fly in?
My personal favourite has to be the Boeing 777.
That's only because she works on the Boeing, whereas I'm mainly on the 380, so I have to say 380.
777.
Okay, so that's about working at Emirates. And different airlines are different, but the general idea is the same. You work for, and it's very different between bigger legacy airline and smaller airlines. So when you work with Emirates and Air Canada might be a little bit similar, but when you work for Porter and WestJet, it will be very different. Because Porter and WestJet, they're all short haul flight, so you will see the layover is much shorter. Sometimes no layover. You basically come back to Toronto and you sleep and then get on there. Okay, so now let's take a 15 minutes break. Then we come back at the 9:50 and then we continue with the next airline. Okay?